Hi, I'm Kathy Garver, and you're watching TV Free Baltimore.
Hi, this is Jim Klima of TV Free Baltimore, and I'm standing here today outside the Leadership Through Athletics building here in Lansdowne. You know, Lansdowne has been the scene of so many amazing events in the last few months that I doubt that any one person could keep up with them all. And that's why we're here to bring that to you. In fact, just 2 months ago, Archbishop William Lori celebrated the 125th anniversary Mass at St. Clement's Church. And just last week, in this building, former Governor Bob Ehrlich was the keynote speaker of the 6th annual Leadership Through Athletics fundraiser and awards banquet. We pick up our coverage of the evening's festivities with Dr. Tom Grace's introduction of the previous speakers.
When we started Night of Leadership 5 or 6 years ago, we kind of put our heads together, and I wanted each year to have a speaker that talked about leadership. Because when you talk about leadership, it means a little bit different to everybody. And every couple of years when I introduce the speaker, I like to go back quickly and reiterate what some people said. Stan White was our first speaker. The older people remember Stan as a Baltimore Colt. The younger people remember Stan as the current voice of the Ravens. And Stan played for Woody Hayes at Ohio State. And you know Stan well. And Stan's message about leadership was the Woody Hayeses of the world. You know, tough, hard-nosed coach. But when you listen to Stan talk about Woody, the love and respect he has for that man is unbelievable. That was Stan's leadership. Joe Ehrlich talked the second year, and a lot of you were here that were here that night. And when Joe talks about leadership, he talks about leadership with young people making hard decisions in a crazy world. And he talks about his experience with the Gilman football players. And I remember clearly that night, he talked us through the night, and it was this week in the year, where it was Gilman's homecoming. And each night after practice, he would take the 70 or 80 kids and talk about the weekend. And he would remind all these young kids that their dates this weekend were going to be somebody's sister, somebody's grandkid, somebody's daughter. And he said to the kids, the night he was here, which was Thursday night after practice, he said, "And Saturday night, somebody's not going to listen to us and have too much to drink. And that's going to be a mistake. But the bigger mistake's going to be the teammate who doesn't go up to their friend and make sure they don't make another mistake or mistake worse." So Joe talked about leadership in the content of helping young people make decisions. Andre Davis, who nobody in this room knows, and that's unfortunate, Judge Davis is one step below the Supreme Court. And Judge Davis told us all that one of his pillars of leadership was failure. And he said to us, people are going to look at you when you fail and see how you respond. And the way a leader responds is what's going to make a difference. Okay, and last was Freeman Urbowski. Last year, Freeman talked about the concept of true grit, that a leader has to have true grit. Because a lot of times when you know you're doing the right thing, there's an awful lot of forces keeping you from doing the right thing, and you need the true grit to be a leader to get it done. And the mascot, for those of you UMBC people like me, the retriever's name is True Grit over UMBC. So a little bit about Governor Ehrlich. I think Governor Ehrlich, the perfect speaker for us tonight on so many levels. Okay? In this crazy political system, it'd be nice to hear from a politician about leadership in the public arena. He's a native son. He grew up in Arbutus and has been a long-term supporter of LTA. When we first opened the education center, Governor Ehrlich came and cut the ribbon for us. A couple years later, out of office, not looking for publicity, he came there from his law firm and gave us a big check for some of the things we had going on. And what was nice about that night was we spent about an hour with the kids. There's a lot of kids in the gym that night. So this is not Bob's first trip to LTA. Bob's been a long-term supporter of this. Bob played football at Arbutus. And anybody in this gym, John Smith and all of us old guys will remember, there's not a better mentor in this gym than Mr. George. And Mr. George, who has honored me by being here tonight because Governor Ehrlich is speaking, also coached Governor Ehrlich in the football program. There's just not a better guy around than Mr. George. Bob left Arbutus and went to Gilman, played football at Gilman. That led to him going to Princeton, where he had a partial football scholarship. He was captain of the football team, and when he left Princeton, he went to Wake Forest Law School. Bob's like the rest of us in this area. You can't leave our area. And Bob came back to practice one of the local firms, elected to the House of Representatives by state, 87 95, right? The U.S. Congress after that, and governor in 2003. Before Bob gets up here, I want to tell a funny story. The reason we got Bob here is my daughter Maggie worked a summer with Governor Ehrlich and his good friend Dick Hamilton at Carlisle Womble. And I asked Maggie, I said, Maggie, get a hold of the governor so I can at least tell him what to expect that night. So I come home one night about 4 or 5 weeks ago, and Maggie's at the house at 9:30. I said, Maggie, any news from Governor Ehrlich yet? She said, Dad, no. She said, but you know, I got this crazy text yesterday. Maggie, I'm free this afternoon, give me a call. And it was signed GUV. He said, I didn't answer, I didn't know who that was. So earlier today, I get another text from this guy. Mag, give me a call tomorrow morning, I got free time, signed GUV. And Maggie says, I texted the guy back, who the hell are you? I don't know who you are. So Governor Ehrlich texts Maggie back, Maggie, how many governors do you text with? So with that, no further introduction, I give you Governor Bob Ehrlich.
Hey everybody, how you doing? Well, when I talk about coming home, this is really home, as you heard. I grew up with Maiden Choice Lane, Kendall Apartments, and then Dolores Avenue, and then St. Clemens CYO dances. Nobody would dance with me at the time, but my son has played here many, many times. Drew, who played for Joe Ehrman and Stan White at Gilman, and now he is a senior at Gilman. My mom and dad are right here. They still live on Dolores Avenue. And this guy sitting next to him, you all know, Mr. George. And as I run around the country, give speeches and all that sort of stuff, it's funny because in every solid community, there's always one person known by not their last name. It's like Cher, right? Or Bono. Well, George, Mr. George. It's that person who's the glue. That person who keeps everything together. That person who, for the last 120 years, is this? 94. Has coached kids and given of his time and effort and loved children unconditionally, which is what those coaches at Gilman had and what they taught. Unconditional love. I also received unconditional love from those two folks, and some kids don't. And as a result, they end up here, and that's why I'm present this evening, because this place is terrific. And this place is the glue where young people can grow. Athletically, academically, morally, and the whole 9 yards. So it's great to be back here home. It's great to be back in this gym. It's great to see people I love. And I have a few words to the young people here. I'm a politician. I'm not going to lie to you. It's not a laugh line. And I'm going to be real quick. But you've heard this term leadership. We all think we know what leadership is. Very subjective sort of theory or everybody has their own definition. There are a million books. Go out there. Rudy Giuliani has one of the best leadership books. But every successful business person, particularly politicians, they write books with regard to leadership. And so many, many, many years ago, I was asked as a member of Congress, particularly a member of the state legislature before I became governor, to give graduation speeches. And what do you want to do at graduation speeches? You want to talk about leadership. You want to give kids something to remember. Not just be boring and what graduation speakers usually are, and they go on and nobody remembers what you said. So I developed a leadership speech, and it's about 7 minutes, which made me very popular, by the way. And in my view, and you might have your own, but as a function of my experience as a student, as an athlete, as a business person, as a politician, as an author, as a father, as a member of this community, maybe you can take a real quick listen. There will be no written test after this, okay? But hopefully I can leave you with a thought or two. So the first is consistency. I haven't given this speech, by the way, in a couple of years, but I dragged it out last night, and I looked at it, and I didn't change a word. The first is consistency. If you're a leader, people have a right to expect you to be consistent, to act in a consistent way. The people who follow you, the people who look up to you, have a right not to be surprised on a regular basis when you make decisions. Honesty and integrity, there's a couple that are even more important than others, and everybody has their own definition. By the way, these are not subjective terms. Honesty is not subjective. You are or you're not. You either have integrity or you don't. And honesty is not just with regard to other people, the reflexive answers you give. You reflexively tell the truth. That's honesty. Integrity, the best definition ever, is you do the right thing when no one's looking. When you're not going to get credit. That's integrity. You are going to do the right thing when you know you're not going to get credit for doing the right thing. And in my view, that's the bottom line concerning this particular element. Mental toughness. If it was easy, everybody would be doing it, right? Nietzsche said, what doesn't kill you makes you stronger and all that. But when it comes to mental toughness, and you learn this in this gym, by the way, there's a difference between losing and being defeated. If you are a competitor, and I hope you are, America's great because we believe in competition. In business, at school, on this court, on that field, you are going to lose once in a while. But you should never be defeated. Because once you're defeated, you're done, and you're not a competitor, and you don't deserve to win. There's a huge difference between the two concepts. If you are engaged in competitive anything, you will lose from time to time. If you're a competitor, you'll understand why you lost. You're going to accept the fact you lost, but you're also going to come back and not be defeated. 4. I'm already to 4. Risk-taking. To the young people here, do not live in life's boredom lane. Take reasonable risks. You will meet lots of people in life. I call them status quo comfortable people. They love the status quo. They take no risks. They wake up. They drink their coffee. They go to work. They go to bed. And they're bored. And you don't want to associate with folks like that. Take risks. You know, Churchill said, my hero Churchill said, never, never, never give up, except to issues of honor and good sense. I'm not telling you to do crazy things. I am telling you to operate out of your comfort zone because comfort zones are boring in life. The next is the most, if you remember nothing else I'm going to tell you tonight, and the adults here I think will understand this. Remember this one. It's called security. And the converse, insecurity. Insecurity explains most failures in life. Insecurity explains marriages falling apart. Insecurity explains teams losing. Insecurity explains relationships that don't work. Be secure with yourself, and the definition of a secure person as you grow up is you are legitimately happy for the success of others. And if you're not, you need to fix it. And if you associate with people who cannot be happy for you, leave them, divorce them, cut them loose, because ultimately they will cost you. If you think about the importance of what causes ill will and relationship breakups in life, it's typically insecurity. Be secure in your success, be happy for others, and you'll be a very, very happy person in life. Discipline, everybody talks about it. What did Mom used to say? Turn off Gomer Pyle, do your homework. None of you remember even Gomer Pyle, right? Remember, Mom? Yeah, you do. It's lifting weights 6 o'clock in the morning when nobody else is in the gym. It's running the extra sprint. It's doing a week's worth of homework when you only have to do a night's worth. It's just doing things that might make you uncomfortable, but you know you have to do them. So do them. Just do it. Be Nike. We like Under Armour around here, but just do it. It's not that complicated. Management. I once had 60,000 employees called the state of Maryland. So when you're a manager, when you're a team captain, whatever you happen to be, whatever leadership position you have, you need to understand, distinguish between the big stuff and the small stuff. And once you figure out the big stuff, you focus. And once you figure out the small stuff, you don't worry about it. Easier said than done, but please listen to me. What to expect from others. What to expect from your teammates, your employees, your peer group. Loyalty, security, and a modicum of brains. And everything else is extra. Wordsmithing. All right. One of my big issues. For the young people here, learn to write. Learn to write. Learn to express yourselves. Learn to impress people by how you get up in front of them and know the English language, by the terminology you use. Learn to speak and learn to write and learn to think critically. That's a definition of a liberal arts education. Your ability to articulate your positions, your beliefs, to go to second and third level thinking defines you as a learned person. It defines you as a leader. Be a wordsmith. If you turn on your TV and see the commercials on politics, you'll see what I don't want you to be. Pro-life, pro-choice, pro-gun, anti-gun, affirmative action, set-asides, Blue Lives Matter, Black Lives Matter. They're phrases. They're not defined. They're meant to cause immediate either excitement or immediate disgust in your mind, but they're not meant to get you to be a thinking person because they're not defined. When I lecture on college campuses, I ask, who's here, who's pro-life, who's pro-choice? They all raise their hands, and I say, you know what? I just was able to define you, and I never actually gave you the definition of what I was talking about. Don't be a victim of a 30-second TV commercial in a political year. Think. Define your terms. And if someone asks you a question, make them define their terms with regard to what they expect from you. Already to 9, 2 more. The last is it. I'm sorry, number 9 is it. It. Have it. Most of you were born with it. You might be able to improve it. If you really don't have it, it's hard to get it. It's tough to buy it off the shelf. It is intangible. It is what your friends think of you when they say, hey, that's the person I want to lead our Cub Scout unit, our class, our team. It's it. It's that quality you have that gets others excited about your leadership. All these other elements, by the way, build it. If you don't have integrity, it's tough to have it. If you don't know how to use words and define terms, it's going to be difficult to have it. If you don't have discipline in your life, it's difficult to achieve it. But have it and improve your it. And the last is this. Balance. And this may be the second most important outside security. Balance. In life, people will say to you, I'm too busy, fill in the blank. I always reject that. I've been with presidents, I've been with major CEOs, I've been with busy head coaches, I've been with really important people. I've been governor. If you don't achieve balance in your life, you are going to be an unhappy person. And you need to define balance, what that means with regard to your values. I was governor of Maryland, but I was a dad. I told my staff, I'm not missing Drew Ehrlich's 70-pound football games at Cape St. Clair. But, Governor, you have to stop. There's always another Lincoln Day dinner. There's always another event. There's always another speech. There's always another obligation. I don't get that 70-pound football game back ever. Our marriage fell apart. I just don't understand. Yeah, you do. We're so busy. You're not that busy. For the young people here, you have to make yourself happy, and that means understanding what balance means to you. My balance is spending time with my wife, playing golf, watching my kids play, reading. I have to be balanced. If I'm not balanced, I'm not happy. The people that work for you need to understand that. But most importantly, you need to understand what makes you happy. Be balanced in life. Don't take that I'm too busy. No one's that busy. I worked out with President Bush at Camp David. He had time to work out. He bowled with us that night. Kendall beat him. She got in his face. It was great. You're not that busy. You're not that important. But there are people and obligations that are important in your life. Feed them on a daily basis. If you're able to feed that balance, you'll not only be happy, you're going to be successful. I'm done. 8 minutes. I want a minute over. Thank you all. Godspeed, and thanks for having me.
Hi, this is Jerry Rochelle, and you're watching TV Free Baltimore.